the longest tiers. So you can see a guy getting stabbed in 88 cell, and you may be in 10, and the guy is way down there getting stabbed. The guard is by the staircase, and this guy is screaming for dear life. No one hears him, but you know he's getting hit. And you know the prison culture. You got to fend for yourself. It's no, you know what happens in an environment like that. Guys keep quiet. Sometimes the guy gets shoved back in his cell. Either he's left to die, or he prays that an officer comes and finds him in there, laying in his blood, and he survives. I've watched guys that I was close to. You talk to him today, you have coffee with him today, and tonight when they call on the child, he doesn't move out of his cell. You find out what's going on with him. You find out he OD'd off of fentanyl 15 minutes earlier. There's no Narcan in the cell blocks to hit this guy to wake him up. They know drugs are ubiquitous in prison. They're everywhere. Yet, the procedures that are in place are not there. The safeguards are not there to protect lives, because they don't see your life it doesn't matter, right? There's a huge sense of being devalued. Human life is completely devalued in these institutions. Your numbers. And once you leave, someone else will take your place. And that's the attitude of the prison industrial complex as a whole,
What's terrifying is there's been no talk to mitigate all the problems that lead to the prison industrial complex. No one's talking about getting rid of it. No one's talking about getting rid of private prisons. No one's talking about trying to figure out a way to, other than just policing, to do something about these communities that keep decade after decade being a place where no one has hope.
And every politician says, it's either get tough on crime,
yes,
or light on crime, right?
Yes, right.
Right? So, but no one says, instead of getting tough on crime, why don't we get tough on the social conditions that produce crime?
Yes.
Because no one is born a criminal. These are conditions that people come out of that drive them, unless you're a nut, right? Unless you have some serious mental health issues and you're just like this, you're obsessed with children, little boys, like we talked about last night in the comedy club, or you're a pedophile or something and you need some serious mental health work. No one is talking about dealing with the crime generative factors that exist in poor communities across the country. When you look at in New York City, the Bronx is the poorest borough in New York City. Brownsville is the poorest community. Both of these places are, the crime is is high. Violence is high, right? Drug use is high. Because the social conditions are that bad, right? And the cycle continues. It's a cycle, because people are living in not just poverty, they're living in concentrated poverty, generational poverty. So one family grew up in the projects, their children wind up growing up in the projects, right? Unless someone comes and breaks that cycle. Unless there's serious intervention to break the cycle of incarceration or intergenerational incarceration, it continues to be perpetuated.
And the problem seems to be that every politician is just concerned with getting elected. So they want to say whatever the people want to hear. And if the people want to hear get tough on crime, it's that. But you don't hear we need to eliminate all the areas of our country that are creating these issues. We have to fix that. They have to fix it. It has to be a concentrated effort. It has to be. I've always said, you want to make America great, have less losers. How do you have less losers? You have more people with opportunity. You figure out where people don't have opportunity, you provide opportunity, and you pour all the money into that. We obviously have billions of dollars to provide to Ukraine. There's always something.
That's right.
There's always something that they come up with where they need trillions of dollars for this and billions of dollars for that, and green energy and this and that. There's no better use of resources than making better human beings, giving human beings opportunity.
And maybe it's time to stop relying on the government for it, because politicians, it's almost like when I think of a politician now in the context of helping solve these problems, it's almost like, wouldn't it be nice for me to be able to fly? Yeah, that'd be nice, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
You know, so what we're trying to do at the Perlmutter Center for Legal Justice is to get the word out to even the private sector. If we can create self-driving cars and artificial intelligence and send people into space, this is a solvable problem. I mean, one of the things that has been, I mean, I don't know why I needed this as like some epiphany, because I've been doing this work for close to 20 years. But lately, I have been struck by the cases that we're working on in a way that I haven't before. And if you ever want to see like the true, it's the best way to articulate this, how fucked up this country is in terms of racial disparity and the mistreatment of minorities in this country, go visit a prison. Sing Sing has a program where we'll talk about it, where they take people from the community in and say, here's what is going on here. I have routinely sat across a table like this in a small room, in the legal visiting room at Sing Sing. Let's just take Sing Sing for example. We recently, one of our new clients was sentenced to 70 years. 70 years for a first offense in which the extent of the victim's injuries were 4 stitches. This man, Sheldon Johnson, served
26 years.
26 years. And I took a look at this case and I said, how is this possible? A few weeks later, I'm visiting with a man who's serving 25 to life for the alleged robbery of $200, in which the alleged victim has a condition where one eye is shut and the other eye had multiple surgeries that were never disclosed to the defense. You know, and
It is an eyewitness account.
yes, there's no evidence,
And he's the only eyewitness.
and he's the only.
He only has one eye.
No pun
He
intended.
doesn't even have a good one.
And his
That's insane.
and he could not identify the person,
And that wasn't disclosed.
And then not the extent of his eye issues. You couldn't hide the fact that one eye was closed. But the point I'm trying to make is that it is extraordinarily rare for me to be hearing these stories, and the person sitting across the table from me is a white person.